Good day, folks, and welcome to another edition of Gardening 101 from Dell's Garden Center. This week, we're going to talk about planting and when to plant and what to plant right now because everybody is anxious to get their fingers in the soil and up and going. So we'll assume that your garden is tilled and ready to go. If you've got that raised garden, that it is up and ready to go, that if you're container gardening, that they're filled with soil and all ready to go. And we're going to talk about what can be planted today, right now, that is going to be an early season crop, is going to be one that we won't have to worry a great deal about freezing weather that will show up because May 10 is our average last frost-free day in northwest Iowa. So we've got a ways to go before that date shows up. And when we say average, it means at least half the time it freezes after May 10. So we want to plant those plants now that are going to be kind of tough and hardy, that are going to do a good job. And we're going to start right off with my favorite, one of the plants that I like to plant a lot of, and that's the radish plant. And this is the white icicle radish. Now, why do I like to plant white icicle radish? Because I love radish sandwiches. And the little round radishes fall out of the sandwich. These big long radishes that are 4 or 5 inches long that I can cut from top to bottom and pile nicely in that sandwich will just do a super job for you. And when you're buying your seed, you kind of want an idea of what you're going to plant. And we talked about this early on. Plant what you like. If you don't like it, don't plant it. And radishes, of course, is one of my favorite. I like the cherry bell and some of the little round red ones as well, but this is the one I plant specifically because I like radish sandwiches. And on the back of the package, there's all kinds of good information for you to use, and it's important for you to do as you're shopping your seeds is look at the back of the plant because it's going to tell you not only what it is, it's going to tell you that this particular one is medium to hot, 4 to 5 inches long. Medium green tops can be eaten. Have you ever had radish greens? Never have I. Pure white, slender roots, it's a good thing. And planting depth, which is important, 1/4 inch. Thin to 1 to 2 inches. So, you're going to scatter them out, but we don't want them growing up a ½ inch from each other. So 1 to 2 inches and in a sunny area, and in 28 days, you're going to have radishes. So the radish seeds can go in the ground. Lettuce, either as plants or seeds, can go in the ground right now. Now, on both of these plants, don't plant the entire pack all at one time. You're not going to eat 45 radishes all in a matter of a week's time. From the 28th day to the 30th day when they start getting too big, you're not going to consume that many. So instead, plant small batches, small rows or clusters or whatever you might like, and that will do a good job. Keep the seed handy about every week, every 7 days, something like that. You're going to scatter a few more seeds in, cover them over the 1/4 inch of soil, pat them down, water them in place, and away they go. Same with the lettuce. Now we can plant peas now. It's a good crop to plant. Again, look at the back of the bag. There are lots of different kinds of peas. There are the snap peas, there are the edible pod peas, there's a number of peas that are there. So, shop your peas carefully. Spinach, if you like that, I don't care to, it's not one that I plant, but spinach is one that can be planted now. Any of the cole crops. Now, cole means cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli. They'll all do a nice job. They are planted as plants, and I've got one here and I want to show you something. You'll buy them in little packs like this. This is not one that you start from seed this time of the year because it just takes too long. So usually they're going to be planted from plants like this. And when you're planting it, when you pop it out of that container, take a look at that root system. And you see it's relatively thick and dense around the bottom. We'll want to break that open. You do it just by tearing it apart, break it open so it looks something like that, and then go ahead and plant it. Same depth as it's in the container right now. When you're done planting, we'll want to use a product called Root Stimulator. Root Stimulator is a mild fertilizer with a product called indole butyric acid in it, which develops a root system. This gets everything up and going. It's just it's a jump start to get those plants off and going, and it'll do a super job for you. So the cabbage, the cauliflower, the broccoli, generally all planted from plants, will do a nice job. Collards and kale from seeds. I don't care for either one of them. I watch the Food Channel on TV, and they make a big deal out of kale. Not for me. So that's one that if you don't like it, don't plant it. Carrots, of course, this is one that I love to plant. And again, I'll plant it in series. I don't plant the whole package at one time. Plant a little bit, leave it, plant a little bit, leave it. That way you've got carrots coming on all along. This is one that needs to be thinned. My wife and I used to fight about this all the time, and I made sure she wasn't in the garden when I thinned the cabbage, because she would get angry because I would have this big, nice row of cabbage and carrots and thin them all the way out. Potatoes, of course, can be planted. Onion sets can be planted. Onion plants can be planted. Turnips can be planted. So those are the things that are kind of ready for planting right now. You know, the things like beans, tomatoes, eggplant, that kind of stuff, we're just going to want to wait a while, and I'll be doing a video when it's a good time to get those in the ground and showing you and telling you how to get them in the ground, and we'll do a very nice job for you. So, you know, if you got your area prepared, get your seeds in place now. Potatoes, a lot of potatoes are in short supply. We've had a hard time keeping them on hand. We do have them available now. Onion sets, onion plants just came. Remember, we talked in the last video about the difference between the plants and the sets. You're gonna put that set deep if you want scallions. You're gonna plant it very, very shallow if you want dry onions, and that'll do a nice job for you. So also fruit trees, small fruits, you know, if you like to have some raspberries, blueberries, any of the berry type plants, of course, strawberries, rhubarb, and asparagus can go in the ground right now, and we'll do a nice job. I want to say a bit about asparagus. If you go online and look, or go to various directions, they'll tell you to set that root, you know, 8 to 10 inches deep, and then you partially cover, and then you cover and cover and cover all season long. I planted a lot of asparagus, and I found out that if I dig a hole 4 to 5 inches deep, spread the root out nicely in the bottom, cover the hole completely, they take off and do a fine job. You know, there's all this fussing around with partially filling the hole. Not necessary in my book. You kind of go from there. If you're planting strawberries, you want to be very careful on the planting depth on that. Good information online along that line. One of the things I want to mention before we leave is companion plants. Here are plants that go well with one another. This goes back hundreds of years, where people who didn't have insecticide, didn't have the kinds of pesticides that we have today, found out that there are various plants that when planted together will kind of ward off insects or ward off disease, that type of thing. I have a whole list of companion plants in my latest newsletter, which will be going out on tomorrow. And you'll want to go to that. If you do not get the newsletter, go to dellsgardencenter.com. Swing down to where it says blog, click on the blog, put your email address in the place, and you will be receiving a weekly newsletter from now on through the rest of the gardening season. So don't forget the fertilizer, of course. We didn't talk about that today. Don't forget the watering. We didn't talk about that day. Those are kind of common sense things. A little bit later on, when we get into the tomato planting, that kind of stuff, we're going to start talking about weed control, various other pest control, what to look for in terms of insects and diseases. So lots of good gardening coming up, and it's so neat to be able to get out and dig in the dirt right now. So we hope that you have a great time and can do just that. So, you know, do what you normally do, like, follow, click on, I don't know, all that stuff you folks do. And if you have any comments, do the comment there. Email me at dellsgardencenter.com. Be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Hey, we hope that you've enjoyed this video. We'll look forward to doing another one in just a few days. And until then, keep on believing, won't you? Bye now.